Hello and welcome to the Overdrive Digital Show. We're already midway through the first month of 2021 and we're getting super busy bringing you the latest reviews from the automotive world. This week we've heard a lot from premium brands. Let's start with the iconic British sports car maker Aston Martin, who up until now offered 3 suave-looking sports cars in India, and they've now added the brand's first ever SUV to that exclusive list. The Aston Martin DBX launched earlier today at just a little shy of 4 crore rupees. Mind you, that's just the ex-showroom price. Here's Arif Sherwani bringing you a closer look at this SUV.
And if you've been an Aston Martin fan and have been waiting for an SUV after 108 years of making cars, finally the company has its first SUV in the portfolio, the DBX. And while it's late to the party, sometimes being late can also be very fashionable. Talking of style, let's take a look up front. So you get the classic traditional Aston Martin grille, only this time it is the largest one that has been fitted to one of their cars yet, and that's the same story with the wings. These are the largest Aston Martin wings that have been put on one of their cars. The other style element that I really like is this classic Aston Martin design on the hood. So you have these vents here, and I like the fact that the design element actually converges right down to the logo to bring your attention to it. So it's actually really well done. When you take a look at it, there is no denying the fact that this is a classic traditional Aston Martin in SUV guise. Now Aston Martin calls this the gentleman's handshake door handles. So the door handles are flush with the side of the car, and when you open them, it comes in a nice handshake-like grip. Another really cool one of those Aston Martin quirks is how the doors kind of slightly open upwards because of a little hydraulic pneumatic unit that is there to kind of lift the door a little bit if you're opening it against a curb, etc. And that's not just with the front doors, even the rear doors open up exactly like that. You also get a nice spoiler at the top which channels air on this duckbill shaped spoiler of sorts. It looks a little ungainly in some pictures, but when you actually look at it in the flesh, it looks quite stylish and nice, and it will remind you of the Aston Martin Vantage. You have these beautifully sculpted tail lamps, and this strip in the middle is actually the brake light. Now the boot space is 632 liters, so that is on par with the segment. In fact, it is more than the Lamborghini Urus and other competitors, slightly less than the actual Cayenne, but a little more than the Porsche Cayenne Coupe. And what's the first thing you want with a luxury SUV? It's luxury. And once you get inside the Aston Martin DBX, it does not disappoint on that front. This interior has swaths of leather, so your door sills right from the top to the center to the bottom, everywhere is just so premium. In terms of functionality too, there's a lot to talk about. So you get these paddle shifters which are actually done the right way, so they're actually attached to the steering column. The driver's display is a 12.3-inch driver display which gives you all the information. It's really nicely done. It's a really neat looking display. However, talking of the infotainment, it might be a couple of generations old. So it is the same MBUX unit that you've seen on a Mercedes-Benz, and it's not a touch screen. You actually use this rotary dial to control what happens on the screen there, along with the other ancillary buttons to maneuver around the interface. It also has that same pet peeve that we have with a lot of other manufacturers, that it only comes with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto gets a complete skip. But other than that, in terms of overall quality, the feel, the fit and finish, there is really nothing to complain about. It's splendidly well done. So the space at the rear in the DBX is where it outshines pretty much all of its rivals. So the seat in front, the driver's seat, is set to my height. I'm 6 feet 2 inches tall, and this is how much space I have for my legs. There's enough room under the seats as well. There's a lot of headroom as well. So this is primarily where most vehicles fall short, is in terms of rear headroom for tall passengers, and the DBX does fantastically well on that front. Now, what Aston Martin have mastered is all aluminum construction, but even then, the SUV weighs in at a little over 2,200 kgs, and propelling this gainly mass forward is this familiar 4-litre twin-turbo V8. If that sounds familiar, you've seen it in a lot of AMGs, and this unit, along with the 9-step transmission, is from Mercedes AMG, although this one is hand-built in Wales like it says. So what it churns out is around 550 PS of power and 700 Newton meters of torque, and that is enough to propel this DBX to a 0 to 100 time of 4.5 seconds. In fact, some VBox tests have also shown that timing to be around 4.2, 4.3 seconds. In terms of price, it has been priced at 3.82 crores ex-showroom. And what's the point of having a full-blown Aston Martin SUV with a price tag that doesn't leave you shaken and stirred? And on that James Bond reference, I bid adieu.
Well, if you liked that video, you must click the like icon, subscribe to our YouTube channel and also our other accounts for similar videos. I promise you will not be disappointed. So don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Can we get Bert on the show, please?
Hi guys. Hi Sohini.
Hi Bert.
Who is missing today?
Rohit will be joining us shortly. I'm still hopeful. He's out on a shoot and he is trying to make it back for the live show. But Bert, when are we going to get to drive this car? When will people be able to see your first drive review?
I hope it's sooner than later, because the challenge with most of these cars is that they usually don't have media feeds. There is just one or two, not a handful for that matter, just one or two, because most of these cars, like the Aston Martins, they only come on order. So getting a car accessible is extremely difficult. But yeah, we're trying to find out. Kareem's already spoken to the guys in Delhi, and sure he's trying his hardest to get his hands behind that wheel. So possibly that I may not get to drive the car, but Arif might. Let's keep fingers crossed, because come what may, you will have a story on it.
All right. In fact, just picking up on what he mentioned in the story itself, that Aston Martin has taken a while to get into this SUV space. Most of the other premium luxury manufacturers have come into this space. Why do you think that is, Bert?
See, the SUV for most of these premium supercar, sports car manufacturers, it's not been an easy job, to shift from sedans and sports cars that they make to get into the SUV segment. So we've seen this case with Lamborghini, and they took the longest time to step into the SUV space, but eventually they did. Ferrari, for that matter, still is on the back burner for that matter. It'll be some time probably when we see something over there. Even Rolls-Royce, they just come out with one SUV, the Cullinan, and that's about it. Same with Bentley, the Bentley. Also, it wasn't all that easy a job for a lot of these manufacturers to make that shift from what they were doing traditionally, and then to enter an SUV space. The need for an SUV undoubtedly was because that's where the volumes are coming in from. That's where the sales are coming from. Most customers around the world, whether it's in North America, whether it's in Europe, whether it's in China for that matter, or Southeast Asia, even to a large extent India. I mean, we've seen the Urus has done pretty well for Lamborghini in India, where Porsche was the only one that actually had an SUV, had the Cayenne, and had an SUV. Porsche was the smartest one over here. They clearly realized the potential of the SUV market. They stepped ahead with the Cayenne, and that was quite some time ago. And then, of course, they came out with the compact SUV, the Macan as well. So, but making that transition has been it's a company with a policy decision whether the company wanted to get in that space or not. And not a lot of them have really wanted to venture into this space as well. But yeah, the numbers cannot be ignored. The potential of that market cannot be ignored. So they are slowly coming in.
All right. We have a question here from Mayur. He says, for a Lamborghini and Porsche fan, how will they convince one to buy the DBX?
One thing about Aston Martins that I've always loved is the exhaust notes, the way those cars sound. They've been absolutely gorgeous sounding machines for that matter. So I guess that's one of the high points for the DBX. Well, apart from that, is also the performance and the elegance. These are not, these cars really drive very, very well. I've had the pleasure of driving an Aston Martin once in UK for an extended period of time in and around London, and then I took it out on the outskirts as well. And it was fantastic. I loved every moment that I spent with the car. But yeah, it's not the easiest of jobs trying to convince someone to move or rather shift from a Urus or a Porsche for that matter, whether it's the Macan or the Cayenne, to invest and go into a DBX. But having said that, I mean, someone who can afford the Lamborghini or a Porsche for that matter might also want to buy a DBX, not just have the DBX. So it shouldn't be a difficult job to do that at all. There is some amount of exclusivity with that car, and with this, even the service backup that is there, it's not extensive. From what we know is Bombay, for that matter, Delhi is the only one right now, and Bombay doesn't have that network at this moment. But having said that, that could be one of the challenges dissuading most customers. But let's hope and see. If you really want a nice, interesting car that's good to drive, that's got the performance of a sports car, sounds great also for that matter, then of course Aston Martin doesn't really have a very tough job of its hand convincing some of those Lamborghini and Porsche owners to invest in an Aston.
All right. But Sachi has a question for you. Which SUV that will be launched by mid-2021 would you want to take to Goa?
Not which what was it that I was taking a look at in Goa? Well,
oh, sorry. Did you take? Oh, sorry.
Well, I'll tell you this much. We did take a look at Skoda's new SUV in Goa. That's all that I'm going to tell you. What it is about and what it is like. There's still some time for that to happen. There is an embargo that comes out that allows us to only talk about this sometime in February. So we will have a few more details for you then. But yeah, that's what I was driving in Goa. Skoda's new Kushaq.
All right. So we'll be getting details when the review is up, and we'll just come back to a couple of more questions, guys. Feel free to send us your queries. We're live right now, so Bert will answer them for you, and Rohit will join us in a short while as well. But our next story is about the BMW 3 Series, which has a new variant exclusive for India, the Gran Limousine. As the name suggests, it's the grander, larger, elongated version of the 3 Series sedan. It's priced at a premium, and that gets you a roomier rear seat, to say the least. Watch the video to know more.
This is the BMW 3 Series. We've seen that already. There's a lot of chrome on the face, a lot of chrome on the window lines, which should tell you this is the luxury line. We've seen that already as well. What we haven't seen, however, is this badge, 320 LD. Now, this L has been a suffix that's exclusive to the 7 Series luxury saloon. That L denotes long wheelbase, or LWB. So this, in fact, is a new 3 Series. But instead of simply calling it the 3 Series long wheelbase, BMW has given it a cooler name, Gran Limousine. And so it looks stretched or elongated compared to the standard 3 Series sedan. 110 is the keyword. It's 110 millimeters longer between the wheels, and it's 110 millimeters longer on the rear door as well. But contrary to what you would expect, the 3GL has balanced visual proportions. If anything, the additional length makes it appear grander. And hence the more elegant poise of the stretched sedan. But in doing that, it has the boot space and the hard-to-reach space-saver wheel as the standard 3 Series, and the usable cargo room is much lesser than the outgoing 3 GT. But in the rear seat, this has become a lot more spacious now. Of course, the new 3 Series was a lot roomier than the model it replaced, but with the long wheelbase, this one now has 43 millimeters of additional legroom. I think that is more space than even the last generation 5 Series. Buy this 3 Series Gran Limousine for its rear seat comfort then. And when you look at it that way, you will appreciate the airy cabin, the panoramic roof that is missed on the standard 3 Series, and the sweet Harman Kardon audio system, which is also complemented well by the new ambient lighting contours. What you'll also appreciate is the kind of supple ride quality that the 3GL has to offer over the standard variant. Even the ride comfort in the rear seat is really good despite the additional wheelbase. Now you remember the suspension setup on the luxury line is slightly softer, the ride quality is slightly softer as compared to the M Sport variant, which is a little stiffer. Now the LD or the Li is softer still. And I'm not complaining, because the draw of this car is space and comfort, and razor-sharp handling isn't necessarily its thing. That said, it still feels like a BMW. And the good news is that the Gran Coupe is available in the Tata M Sport trim too, if you would like a tighter setup. So the suspension components on the standard 3 Series and the long wheelbase are exactly the same. There is, however, that tuning difference that I told you about, and that also means that you do not get any adaptive dampers to firm things up if you were to drive the car around winding roads like I am right now. But what you do get is various driving modes that will sharpen up the responses of the engine and the gearbox. Now this is that amazing ZF 8-speed transmission that we've come to love in BMW cars, and it doesn't change in this car either. There's no reason for it to change anyway. In terms of the engine options, it remains the same to the standard 3 Series. What we are driving is the 320 LD, the badge that we opened with. So this gets the 2-litre diesel engine. And like we've said in the past, it is one nice sprightly motor that's also fuel efficient for city as well as highway use. And when you're in the mood, the engine doesn't leave any room for complaint. Let's sum this up then. Now BMW has gone on record and said that they are not going to build a GT variant on the new 3 Series platform. So if you have been waiting for a new GT to come out, well, it's not happening, at least in the 3 Series lineup. But if you were primarily looking for that particular variant purely for the additional space at the rear, then of course this is the model to go for. There are no two questions about it. The kind of comfort it offers you in the rear seat is phenomenal. I think here's a car that is big on the badge, big on the space, big on the practicality, and, well, a great buy in itself.
Rohit,
Oh,
you made it.
Yes, I'm back. I just got home from the shoot. Sorry for the delay, but yeah, we've been shooting the Apache RTR 200 OV 2021 BS6 edition. Very long name, but yeah, very long shoot as well. But finally, we are done with the shoot, and I've just about reached home. So sorry for the delay. But I think I'm just back in time. I just saw the 3 Series Gran Limousine review being played out. The launch is still a little while away.
Yes, we'll just let everyone know that they could catch a detailed version of this story on YouTube. It's on Facebook and IGTV as well. So do leave a comment and let us know what you think of this car as well. So I guess we could jump right into the news, Rohit. We can start with the motorcycle news from this week. Hi, Rohit, can you hear me?
No, I'm sorry. You'll have to give me about a minute. The audio is a little out of sync.
Okay. So what we'll do is we'll start with the car news. Guys, I'll just remind you once again that we're live. You can send us your questions, and Rohit and Bert will be answering them shortly. So we've been... All right, so we'll start off with Tesla. They have just started their India innings earlier this week. Tesla Motors and Energy Private Limited is based out of Bengaluru. The EV brand is still looking to zero down on the R&D and facility and also an assembly plant. We are assuming the company will begin operations as a sales company, importing its cars via the CBU route shortly. The first offering, of course, will be the entry-level Tesla Model 3. That's what you see on your screen right now, which might be priced around 55 to 60 lakh rupees. Moving on, we have news from Mercedes-Benz India. They will be rolling out 15 new products this year, including the all-new A-Class limousine, the new GLA, the facelifted E-Class, the S-Class, and also the most ferocious of all Mercedes AMG GT lineup of cars, the AMG GT Black Series. We can start expecting these launches from April onwards. BMW has added a petrol variant to the 2 Series Gran Coupe, the 220iM Sport variant at 40.9 lakh rupees ex-showroom. The twin-turbo 2-liter turbo petrol makes 190 horsepower and 280 Newton meters of torque and offers an 8-speed Steptronic Sport automatic transmission with launch control included. In terms of fuel efficiency, though this petrol variant returns 14.82 kilometers to the liter when compared to the diesel variant, that returns 18.64 kilometers per liter. Tata Motors has rolled out the first Safari from Tata's Pune plant, and along with it, you can now get a closer virtual look at this SUV via the AR Suit Imaginator, which you can check out from your home. So that's the production model. Also, while bookings and test drives for the Altroz iTurbo have already begun and we inch closer to its launch date, which is 22nd of January, we now know that this hatchback will only be available in 3 trims, the XT, XZ and XZ Plus. This model comes with the company's updated IRA connected tech, which has the ability to understand over 70 voice commands in English as well as Hindi, which seems to be quite a popular feature these days. There's also the express cooling function to cool down the cabin at a faster rate than usual. We're expecting this variant to start at close to 6.29 lakh rupees. But Rohit, so this connected tech seems to be a very, the fact that you can now read the commands in English seems to be a very popular option nowadays, isn't it?
It's not a very popular option as such. It's the first time that something of this has come up and MG Motors has introduced this market. So in that sense, I think it's a very innovative step to take forward. Absolutely brilliant that a manufacturer has, taken the initiative to, provide a service to its customers. We keep forgetting that there is a large rural base as well and a large population of people, even in metro areas for that matter, who prefer speaking in rather than just English. I think for a lot of people to just go back or rather, go ahead with Hindi and have a conversation in Hindi. And a car that can understand colloquial languages, that's absolutely brilliant. Why just stick to English? I think it's an innovative step forward and hats off to them. I think this will now encourage a lot of other manufacturers as well to kind of, provide talks back to you in Hindi, not just in English.
Right. We have a question here from Yash. He's saying Safari is launching, the XUV is going to launch, Hector has launched now, Creta 7-seater has also been spied testing. So Kia, is Kia thinking about a Seltos facelift to compete with its rivals?
Well, yes, Safari is launching, but again, let's not forget, this is just another iteration of the Harrier for that matter. I would have preferred it to be something entirely different, but I don't think that's the case. I think the Safari nameplate, there is a bit of dilution over here as well. You would have loved to have seen an entirely new car. I would love to see Tata Motors, going full hog and getting something entirely new. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is, and let's see what it actually feels like. I do hope that it doesn't feel too similar to the Harrier. I hope there is some sort of difference. Not similar to what the Harrier is. That'd be a bit let down by that. XUV is going to launch. Yes, there's a brand new XUV coming out. Hector is launched now. Just thinking about Seltos facelift to compete with its rivals. Not immediately. There isn't a Kia facelift that's going to be great. And just keep in mind that Kia Seltos has been in the market for about a year and a half. About a year for that matter. A little over a year actually. And it really doesn't warrant a facelift at this point in time. We could expect a facelift for the Carnival, which is their MPV, the full-size luxury MPV. Those images are already out. We'll see what it looks like. It's absolutely stunning for that matter. But that will come down to India shortly. But where the Seltos is concerned, no, there won't be any facelifts coming up immediately. There may be a few additions in terms of features or price revision and correction that will happen, but other than that, I don't expect anything to come up Seltos.
All right. Bert, I think you'll have to speak a little louder because we can't really hear you that well.
Sorry, I'll try. Can you? Is this more audible now? Better?
Yes. 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 All right. Rohit, does the 2GC replace the 1 Series? It's a question from Rohan.
Well, in a way, yes. In a way, no, because the 1 Series only came to India in the hatchback Ather, right? And the sedan never came to India. And the 2GC essentially is, yes, the 2 Series basically was the sedan for BMW. That is how they split it. And the 2GC is based on the 1 Series hatchback, the new 1 Series hatchback in the global market. So in a way, yes. In a way, no. That's exactly what I mean. So this is the sedan that you can buy. There will be no 1 Series sedan, and this is the only option that you have, the 2GC.
And he also wants to know, is there a 340i coming? Where do you think it will place in the pricing? Where will it be placed in pricing?
Well, I'm not sure if BMW will bring the 340i to the Indian market. They've always been conservative with the variant choices, especially for the 3 Series. You either get the entry-level petrol or diesel, or you then the full M3. So I'm not sure if they will do the 340i in the Indian market. The 330i is more than enough, in terms of the performance, in terms of what it does for the Indian market, and it also enjoys a sweet price point. I'm not sure if the 340i coming in at that kind of a price would really make any sense, which is essentially the reason why they have instead done the 3 Gran Limousine that we just saw at the beginning of the show, because the typical clientele still wants that space. They want that practicality, which is why the 3 GT, which probably did not do all that well internationally, did exceptionally well in the Indian market. There was a time where it was actually outselling the regular 3 Series sedan. So everyone's not looking at that out-and-out performance from the 3 Series sedan, and of who walking into the showroom and looking for that driving enthusiasm, the 330i is doing just fine for most of them, I think. So I really don't think the 340i is going to make it to the Indian shores. But then you never know. Mercedes-Benz is going all out with everything they have in their portfolio. So I don't expect, or I won't be surprised if BMW does something similar and starts bringing every possible option to the market as well. And let's hope that the 340i comes in. But I think the chances are very, very, very little of that happening.
All right. Yash wants to know any update on the Dominar 400.
No, Yash, no update so far. The Dominar 400 didn't really bring in the kind of numbers Bajaj would have. They are purely banking in on the 250 cc segment right now. And if you've been, recently following us on YouTube as well, there are a lot of Bajaj ads that are playing on most of our videos, on top of our videos, which are, sort of circulating around that whole 250 cc segment. They're talking big about their own Dominar 250. There's a Hussies that they're talking about. There's also the KTMs that they're talking about. So that 250 is what they are being on the most at the moment. So I'm not really sure what's going to happen to the Dominar 400. I hope that it comes up in a newer, better avatar. But as of now, don't have any concrete news on that.
All right. Here, Prasad has a question. He's confused between the following: whether he should buy the Harrier or wait for the Skoda Kushaq, or just settle for the Rapid Rider Plus. He's looking for good quality and driving fun.
Prasad, I'd suggest just hold on for a little while longer. The Skoda Kushaq is not too far away. I think commercial launch will be sometime in the month of May. That's what we told you earlier as well, and I'm expecting that to happen as per that timeline. So do wait. We will have some updates for you shortly as well on the Kushaq, so at least some bits of information that we will be allowed to share with you. We are under embargo in February. So as soon as that embargo lifts off, we will have a lot of information coming your way, and you will see the car in the flesh in the month of March. and subsequently it will be launched, commercial launch in the next month or two.
All right. One last question before we get into another news section. Rohan wants to also know, is there a Jimny coming or do we have to buy a Thar?
Rohan, I'm not
Rohan, the
convinced
Jimny's...
entirely. Yeah, we are good.
Right. Rohan, like Bert was saying, I think him or even Maruti, they are probably not completely convinced if the Jimny makes sense for India. Of course, it has been spied testing on quite a few occasions in the Indian market, in India as well. But we are not yet sure if, Maruti is completely convinced if that vehicle should come to the Indian market. Of course, they have a variant of the Jimny running the 1.5 liter petrol smart hybrid engine that we've already seen in cars like the Ciaz. But at the same time, Maruti is not sure that size, the vehicle size will work in the Indian scheme of things. Will people pay that kind of money? Will people pay more money than even a Brezza for a vehicle that is that small? I agree. The capability is a lot more, but not everyone is going to really exploit the off-roading capability of the Jimny. So, it's still going to be a lifestyle product. And will people spend that kind of money for a lifestyle product at that particular size? We are not yet sure. So is Maruti. So, we don't know if that's going to happen. Of course, there was word that they will also be exporting the Jimny out of here, but that's a completely different business model. That doesn't necessarily mean that they have to launch the car in the Indian market as well. So I think Maruti is still contemplating, but they received a very good response at the Auto Expo. So fingers crossed. Let's hope it happens.
See, here's
But do you want to
my
add
take on
something?
this also. I do have a couple of thoughts that I'd like to share over here as well. And while I do like what the Jimny represents and what it stands for, and then we don't deny the fact that it'll be a fun car to drive. But for Maruti, that means making a two-wheel drive vehicle first of all, because that's where the volumes will exist, not in the four-wheel drive segment. Let's be very, very clear about that. The other challenge is that the four-wheel drive system, once that is offered on the Jimny, that will raise the price up considerably. So you're no longer looking at a sub 10 lakh rupee SUV. You're probably looking at a 10 or 12 lakh plus SUV coming out from Maruti stable. It'll be one of the most expensive cars that they will be offering for that matter. So, it's not going to be an easy proposition, or it'll be hard for Maruti to convince customers to go in for something of that sort. I'm not sure if that is not an encouraging sign for them as well. And we've said this in the past as well. Maruti is not really, it wants cars rather that they can do a significant volume from. Even the least selling car, the Ciaz for that matter, or others, which is still a good selling product for that matter, does extremely well. Let's look at sedan. It does extremely good numbers, reasonably very, very good numbers. But those are the kind of volumes that you would want on the Jimny. Will the Jimny be able to deliver that to them? I'm not entirely convinced at this point in time. If they could replace the Brezza with the Jimny and bring it at the Brezza price point, then possibly there's a market and there's a case for it. But there are several engineering challenges also to this. Keep in mind that the Jimny right now is, because of the left-hand drive version, they need to make it right-hand drive. We need to offer that spec for the Indian market. So lots of changes that need to be made and kept ready and got ready for the Indian for our Indian consumers. So it's not an easy job, trying to get the Jimny ready for India. Neither is it a very, very encouraging market for that matter. It's not like Jimny will sell thousands of units. I don't see those kind of numbers coming in to make it a viable business proposition for Maruti.
All right. And we have one question here from Shobit. Is the upcoming Kia Carnival expected in India?
Yes, Shobit, there is a new Carnival that will come out of India. That's the facelifted version that we've seen images of with that new grille treatment. Looks absolutely brilliant. And that will come down to India in some time.
All right. There's a rumor that the Kushaq and Taigun will have a 10 lakh rupee base variant. Is that true?
Well, hands are up. Lips are sealed. I can't say anything on this at the moment. You just have to wait till the above lips off in February, when I can share a lot more details with you.
All right. This is a very broad question. Any expectation in 2021?
Turn this around. Hang on. Let me turn this around in a way. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Should there be a sub 10 lakh rupee variant for the Kushaq? And if there is, would you kind of go in for something of that sort? Will that make a lot of sense? Keep in mind, it's difficult to make or other provide the kind of quality that you would want under 10 lakh rupees. No one's really been able to crack that code. But yes, well, give it a shot. Let me know what you think.
All right. Okay, I think Shobit, your question was just answered because you asked about the Kia Carnival. Rohit, if you could take us through the motorcycle news from this week, please.
Sure. So we begin with Honda. So Honda has launched the 2021 Africa Twin Adventure Sport 1100 in the Indian market. Well, don't let the 2020 tagline really fool you, because mechanically it remains unchanged. What they've essentially done is the two colors that you see on the screen. There is a black color and then there is the iconic tricolor. I've literally swapped the two. So now the manual is the one that's available in the black color, and the DCT is the one that's available in the tricolor. In 20, it was the other way around. What has really beaten me, though, is the big price hike that the Africa Twin has gone through. The manual is now 61,000 rupees more expensive than before. So that means it's about 61,000 rupees more expensive than before. So that means it's now 15.96 lakh rupees ex-showroom. But the DCT is 1.4 lakh rupees more expensive. 1.4, that's a huge price jump. Yes, the Africa Twin has been received quite well in the Indian market, but I think when they launched the Adventure Sport variant last year, it somehow lost that value for money character that the Africa Twin was really sold for. It lost that underdog character in that sense. And now with the 21 model, the prices have just, it is now the most expensive middleweight adventure tourer out there, or adventure motorcycle out there. It has essentially surpassed the Tiger 900, the Versys 1000, the F900 XR. Anything and everything around that bracket has now been surpassed, and it's actually gone into the GS 1250 territory in a way. So yeah, I think that pricing is a big problem. Anyway, so we have another exciting piece of news that's coming up, and that's from Triumph. The Speed Triple has now been bumped up from 1050 to 1200. Of course, these are just teaser images and videos that you will be able to see on the screen right now. But the full reveal is supposed to happen. It's scheduled to happen on January 26th. The big news, of course, is, like I said, the 1050cc engine has moved up to 1200. It's a 1200 triple. I'm expecting the suspension components to remain the same as the outgoing 1050 RS. But I'm expecting the brakes to be a little more superior now. The Brembo Stylema calipers are expected on the 1200 Speed Triple RS. So all of that will be clear on the 26th of January. So somewhere around that time, definitely do log on to overdrive.in, and we'll have the entire info for you on what this motorcycle is all about. And now the third piece of news is from the scooter segment, the scooter EV segment, or the scooter segment to be more precise. So Ather has now started its experience center in Mumbai as well. So if you want to, take a closer look at the vehicle, see what it's all about, understand the different ways in which you can buy it, that's the center that you want to head to if you are in Mumbai. In fact, Sohini had a chance to have a quick chat with Tarun at Ather. Sohini, you want to add something here?
Yeah, so the entire interview is up on our YouTube channel right now. It's on Facebook page and Instagram as well. So I won't give away much. In fact, the information just says that they're planning to set up across 27 cities in the country. And they initially had plans to set up the fast charging stations, around 150 of them by December. But of course, the pandemic pushed back the plans, and now the plan is to have them set up across the country by the end of March. So hopefully that will happen. And so go check out that interview on YouTube. And it'll be on the show as well tomorrow. So you can check it out there as well. So we'll get back to our questions. Rohan has a lot of questions today. He wants to know what's the new and expected EVs in India other than Tesla bikes and cars.
Well, Rohan, we are expecting something on the EV space as well. Again, Mercedes has said that they will come out with 15 new cars. I expect some of them, there would be something to the EV space over there also possibly. But But what we're looking forward to immediately is now the I-Pace Jaguars will be coming out with that EV very, very shortly. Towards the middle of 2021 is where I expect we'll have a lot more information about that. It's just a few months away, and we'll have the I-Pace coming out. But apart from that, we'll have to keep seeing how this market evolves in India. Right now, it's still very, very nascent. There aren't too many players who will be coming out with too many EVs for that matter. Let's see, Tata Motors might have something as well for us. Perhaps Kia might also look at that segment with a little more interest and have something to offer.
Actually, I was getting to that word because just a couple of hours ago, we have that news piece on Overdrive as well that Kia has plans to, launch around 7 EVs by 2027. Do you think that would figure for India as well?
There could certainly be plans solely for EVs for India as well. They've already indicated as much in the past also that it's not a segment that they reverse to. But given the right infrastructure and support, they will definitely launch an EV in India. So yes, we could look forward to something happening in maybe 2021. If not 2021, then definitely in 2022 we should have something from here at the EV.
All right. In fact, Simran caught up with the head of Skoda Auto as well, and he asked him the same question. You guys can check out that interview on YouTube as well, just to know what Skoda thinks of bringing an EV to India in the next 5 years. Aditya wants to know, is BMW X1 a good buy?
Of course, Aditya, the BMW X1 is an excellent buy. In fact, we've conducted comparison tests as well. So definitely search our YouTube channel for the X1 versus the XC40. The new X1 is equally good. And of course, there will be the new GLA. When that comes out, we'll again conduct a test. But as of now, the X1 is one of the best buys in the segment. You get the space. That was one big concern with the previous X1. You get the space, you get the features, you get the quality, and you get the badge. You get everything with that car, literally. And it's an excellent car in that space. So it is certainly a good buy.
All right. Mayur wants to know, is the Africa Twin a good competitor to the R1250 GS?
Mayur, like I said, the Africa Twin is the middleweight adventure motorcycle. So essentially, it competes with the likes of the Tiger 900, the BMW F900 XR. Not so much against the 1250, but yes, in the current form that it's sold in India, the adventure sports form where it's a little more touring driven. You have a larger tank. In a way, yes, it competes against the 1250, but like we did the mega test at the start of 2020, where we concluded that the R1250 GS is the best motorcycle that you can buy if adventure touring is what you are looking at, and if you're willing to stretch to that kind of a price tag. So yeah, I don't think the Africa Twin is an outright competitor to the R1250 GS, but now with the current price tag, yes, it certainly strays into that territory as well.
All right. We have a question here from Vedika Enterprises. Is the IMT reliable for long-term usage, whether IMT is expensive to maintain or similar like a manual maintenance?
Well, yes, the IMT is reliable for long-term usage or short-term usages. There aren't any issues such with that. Again, keep in mind it's similar transmission to the AMT for that matter because it's clutchless and yet uses a manual transmission or a manual transmission gearbox for that matter. So reliability isn't an issue. You will get decent service out of an IMT. However, if you ask me for my opinion on IMT, I still think it's a bit gimmicky at this point in time. I'm not too fond of IMT transmissions, and while I've driven it on the Sonnet and they work, I was Sonnet and it works very well. I still think it's best to go for manual transmission. I like the clutch and shifting, putting the gears into its gates. I do like that action. I'm not entirely. If I wanted an automatic, I'd go in for a proper automatic, a torque converter or a DCT. But yeah, an IMT, it's a stopgap measure for now. When you look at it very closely, I mean, AMPs are completely vanished. They're completely gone from the environment. No one's launched an AMP in a very, very long time. Everyone's kind of moved to the IMPs for now. And I think this is just a matter of time before the IMP also may just kind of vanish to thin air.
All right. Guys, thank you so much for your questions. In fact, before we tune out today, let's just take a look at what we have on the show tomorrow. Well, we've got a review of the BMW 3 Series Gran Limousine, the detailed version that we were talking about. We also have a chat with the Skoda Auto India boss, a look at Ather's new experience center in Mumbai, and a much awaited comparison between the Nissan Magnite and the Toyota Urban Cruiser. So don't forget to tune in at 1 p.m. tomorrow at on CNBC TV 18. You can catch the repeat of the show on Sunday at 1 p.m. At 12:30 p.m. and 8 o'clock as well. Yeah, I think that's about it from all the questions.
Let me just quickly take you through the magazine as well. We just got, I just got my hands on the copy a couple of days ago. The January issue right there. And we've got the Volvo X60 on the cover. And of course, we also got the text for the Audi A4 and the comparison to the Magnite and the Urban Cruiser, which you will see on the show tomorrow. And there's tons of more information coming your way. Again, all of this is available in the print copy so well. I've got my hands in the print copy, but I'm not sure what the schedules are like with your place. So you can definitely go on the website and order a digital copy and read that PDF as well. In the meantime, I'd also like to take this moment right now. It's been one hell of a week. The last 12 days have been very intense because Dakar has been going on, and we've seen some very intense competition. We also seen some very intense, some very emotional incidents that have taken place. CM Santosh has had a major fall, and our prayers go out to him so that he recovers. He's in an induced coma at this point in time, and he's still recovering. Doctors are putting him in induced coma just so that he can heal properly. But we're waiting for him to come out of that and get back on the field, get back to riding. We wish his family and friends and all of his well-wishers our prayers go out to them as well. Let's fingers crossed that CM comes out of it very, very quickly and gets back stronger than ever. On the other hand, we also had Ashish Rawal, who had a terrible fall again, also a bad incident and hurt his head, of course. And he had to kind of withdraw from Dakar, even though he was allowed to take participate and just ride along with the event. But that was also after he recovered and was ready to kind of ride. But hats off to see a privateer who's put in his own, put in his own effort, his own money, got into Malimoto, which is one of the toughest categories at Dakar, which is its category where you're riding on your own without any factory support or factory backup. I have met these riders in the past, and it's something that it really is just the sheer force of will that pushes you through this. Servicing a motorcycle, taking care of your meals, taking care of your health, riding competitively, preparing your face notes, doing whatever it takes, all of that on your own, just literally working out of a trunk as a competitor is a huge ask of any rider, and Ashish Rawal has done it. And when you say hats off to the guy, brilliant job. But the biggest news, of course, is Harit Noah. Sherko being a senior rider for that matter. Harit Noah placed 20th. That's the highest finisher for an Indian at the Dakar. It's a very, very proud moment. Harit Noah, hats off to you. You've done a wonderful job. You've really kept it together. You didn't like there was no tomorrow. You put your heart and soul into this, and you come out on the other side victorious, cheerful, and well stronger for it. So, well, great job. All of our well wishes go out to you from all the team at Overdrive. Congratulations, well done, and keep at it. There will be a day when you will definitely be not just in the top 10, probably the top 3 as well. Hopefully.
Absolutely. All right, so I guess we'll wrap up on that note. From this week, we'll catch up with everybody.
Well, a little earlier than usual, isn't it, Tony? We'll be quite quick.
It's been a slow week in terms of news, though, and it's been slow in terms of questions as well.
So, coming slow necessarily, but there have been some really, really big announcements that have happened. Of course, the Tesla are coming in, and Tata Motors making announcements, all sorts of things that have happened this week as well. But do keep sending us your questions. We are here to reply, to answer them, and give you all the information about the automotive industry and what's happening. We're coming out of the slowdown, and things are taking back into the top gear for that matter. Everything's shifting into overdrive. So let's buckle yourself in tight and get ready for the ride.
All right. See you guys.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye.